What is up, Internet world, and welcome to Accelerate. I'm Mike, and this is the all-new Mercedes-Benz E53 Edition 1. This is a big deal because this is a plug-in hybrid with a range of 49 miles or 80 kilometers, and nobody usually drives more than 80 kilometers to work or even to have fun. Remember, you don't use the engine whatsoever. It drives completely on electric, and when I say that, people are like, oh, well, electric's kind of slow, but not this one. I drove it yesterday for about 25 to 30 minutes on all electric, from the street to the highway, back to the street, back to the highway, and I didn't notice one difference. It makes a ton of power. Now, when you combine the engine, which is a 3-liter turbocharged V6, you get 577 horsepower and 553 pound-feet of torque. That is without the Dynamic Plus Package, which bumps the horsepower to 604 horsepower. And it looks like this. Now, this E53 AMG Edition 1 has a 21.2 kilowatt hour battery, and that feeds the 120 kilowatt electric motor, and that puts all its power into the all-wheel drive, or of course, the 4MATIC Plus. And then that shifts with a 9-speed AMG SPEEDSHIFT transmission, and then when you put all that together, it needs power, and that power is actually placed right here. So you open these things up and you plug the power right in and store it in the vehicle. And that's how you rip to 60 in about 3.5 seconds, which is kind of wild. So let's take a look at the front of this E53 AMG. You have this massive front Mercedes star here, and they do have heating elements in them, so in the wintertime it does melt the snow. You do have a camera right there, and of course this massive AMG grille do have vertical slats. You have the AMG badge there, of course you have Parktronic everywhere, and then if you look up top here, you have the Turbach badging up there, the AMG one, and it's awesome because there's no chrome in it. It actually has the same sort of finish as this grille here, all the way around, the trim around, and the vertical slats. Moving down from there, you have massive air intakes on the sides, and of course the bottom, that has to suck all the air in for this 3-liter that makes a whack ton of power. Now, your headlights are sleeker. They are digital lights, so they do give you a signature look at night when you put the car on or shut it off. It gives you sort of a dancing look. Then you have the DRLs up top and on the bottom with these massive projectors that, of course, light up the sky when you're driving. Because if you've driven any expensive German car now, they just do a really good job when it comes to lighting, and this digital light is no different. Now, as I come around the corner of this Edition 1 Mercedes-Benz E53 AMG, you will see the wheels are 21s, and they are Edition 1 wheels, and they have a center hub. How sweet is that? They're 265 wide is on the front, and they're 295 wide on the back. The car has a turbo hybrid badge on the side with this little fin that is, I'm not even sure, is it functional or not? I don't know, but it looks cool. It is wrapped with this little dark chrome trim that's all around the vehicle, including on the door handles on the top. It says Mercedes-Benz, they pop out, they are flush, and then you have black everywhere, and then here you have carbon fiber on the mirror cap housing with, of course, an LED in there, and of course a 360 camera. But on the lower side, you see you have this graphics kit all the way down that says AMG here, and then black on the bottom. That stuff's pretty typical, nothing new there. It's very sleek and nice. But the big thing here is this. This part here is cool. The wheels are unique, of course, the carbon fiber. You have a full glass sunroof, and then coming to the back, again, 295s on the back. This does have rear wheel steering, so when you're whipping on that corner, you have the back wheels to turn to sort of give you that extra turning motion to make it easier for you. And then when you come around the back here, you will see this really high rear spoiler. It's clean, but it is fairly high. And from the side, you can see these LED taillights. It's not just selectively for the people in the back. You can see it on the side here as well. Now, if you're wondering what color this is a manufacture color, which means it is a special color. You can't just order it off the bat. You gotta pay for it. It's called Manufacture Moonlight White Magno. And again, I washed this morning and it was clean, like mint. And then it rained and then it got dirty again. So here we go. It still holds pretty good even when it is dirty. So starting at the top here, you have a smaller upper window with a third brake light built into it. There's of course no rear wiper. Even though this looks kind of fastbacky, it is not. It is actually just a sedan, but it's slopey in its own sense. You've got this full carbon fiber upper lip spoiler. Then you have the AMG, of course, the Mercedes-Benz Mercedes-Benz star, and then the E53 that has red sort of backing behind it. Now, you'll see on the bottom, you have this line that goes from end to end, and it's also that same sort of dark chrome trim that you see in the rest of the car. Beneath here, you have these sort of star-looking things, I guess. They sort of match the emblem. I just kind of noticed this right here, and they're, oh yeah, look at that. That is super cool. It does have the Mercedes-Benz logo sort of built into these rear taillights. Down from there, of course, you have a rear view camera, which I assume is hiding somewhere. Oh, there it is. Typical Mercedes-Benz fashion, it hides and then it pops down when you put it in reverse. And then down from there, of course, you have the rear Parktronics, and then you have the sport exhaust. So the AMG E53 exhaust. So let's hear it. This is a full power trunk, so you lift it up, and as you can see, it's not a Sportback, it's just simply a truck. It is powered. There is a way to drop the seats by pulling any of these guys here, and you do have a 60-40 split. This is a very tight trunk though. It's a very high trunk, and I assume it's because the battery is underneath here because there's no way to lift this rear deck lid up. Now, the seats fold down again, but it is still very, very tight. It's very narrow, and this is my camera bag. You can probably fit 2 of these camera bags top to bottom, and probably about 3 probably wide, so it's not overly small, it's just not as big as you'd expect it when you buy a large or a decently large 4-door sedan. Anyways, close this bad boy, let's show you guys inside. All right, the back seat of the Edition 1 E53. Now I will say getting into these handles is kind of annoying. This is not the first time I brought this up, but to get into the back or front seat with these handles that pop out, they kind of like a 2-pull thing. Well, it's like the first time is like electronic, and then the second time is like a cable. And it's weird because when you try to pull it, it doesn't open. It kind of resistance, and then you got to pull it, and then you're fighting with it basically. It's not super easy to open. It looks cool when it opens up, and you have the light and stuff like that, but I just find that really annoying, the door handles of these things. But anyways, sitting in the back here, very good, very comfortable. You have this exclusive yellow seat belts, yellow stitching, yellow piping all over the vehicle. It is nice. And these back seats, I like how it's just really designed for 2 people. The person in the middle gets some action, but not as cool as me and this person here. So anyways, let's take a look at this door panel here. Very standardized Mercedes-Benz quality here. You do have 3 increments of heated seats right there. You have this backlit ambient lighting panel that sits here, and of course this does have the Burmester sound system. And I have 2 sunroofs, like 2 individual sunroofs. This is for me, this little guy, and then you have a larger one up front for the driver and passenger. I do have a sunshade. It is an automatic powered sunshade. It is not manual. I'm trying to find a way to actually close it, and there's nothing I can do back here to close the sunshade. It's only really done by the people in the front, which is kind of silly because you have to ask them, hey, can you open and close this sunroof? But I guess when you're hauling booty in this thing, you don't have to really worry about a sunroof. You have to really just worry about your life, and that's why you have this handle. Yep. Now, jokes aside, if you're wondering about where are the USB-Cs, where's the venting, there is venting here, very modern, futuristic look. I do have a bit of a pocket here to store some stuff. On the side, I do have carpet on this basically rear console. And then I have 2 USB-Cs hiding underneath there with, of course, this little bump here because you do have an axle going to the back. Because remember, this is all-wheel drive, but this is an engine. I know it does have a battery, but the battery's just really to help it. It's not really to replace it like a full EV. And then you have these carpets. It's a Edition 1 on them, and that is cool. And what's also nice is when I'm sitting back here, I can see the super screen in front of me. It's nice and big. And I can also see a lot because these seats are actually really good. Like, look at this headrest. It's not big and bulky. It's just slim and sleek. And I can kind of see around and I don't feel claustrophobic back here, even though I have an all black headliner. All right, front seat of the E53 Edition 1. If you didn't notice an Edition 1, well, on your headrest, you have the Edition 1 stitching all the way through. And then you have this Falterback crested headrest with yellow stitching all the way around it. Now, these seats have AMG also stitched on here, more yellow stitching, yellow piping, and all kinds of yellow stuff, of course, including the yellow seat belts. Now, look at this dash. This has a super screen, and the technology in this is become better. The software they've used pops more. The colors are clearer and brighter than the last super screen I saw. And then, of course, your ambient lighting goes all the way around the dash. It's pulsating right now. Whew, the steering wheel, nice and thick. This is something that Audi and BMW have to learn. BMW has a very similar steering wheel, except it's a little bit thicker. It's just not as nice to hold. And Audi, well, you know my hate on for the skinniest steering wheels on the planet. Audi has those. Anyway, starting with the door panel here, you have 3 increments of memory seats. You have the ability to put on your ventilated seats and your heated seats right from this door panel. And of course, your Burmester sound system is also in the door panel. You have tweeters up top, and then you have a mid over here, and then the bass stuff is hiding somewhere because I do not see it with my own eyes. Maybe they just skipped having a subwoofer on the bottom because they have a subwoofer in the back. Now, if you're wondering what this is right here, there's a camera. This is the first time I've ever seen a Mercedes with a camera right here. Kind of how Porsche has the Sport Chrono. This one has a camera looking at me, and it's a dash cam. There's a spot for a USB. You plug it in, or an SD card, I apologize, plug it in, and it will store this dash camera in this, which is kind of weird. Like, why would you want to film yourself, especially making it so prominent? Like, hide it over here somewhere. Like, instead of passenger airbag light, just get rid of this and put that there and maybe move the light somewhere else. I mean, why have it right there, in my opinion? Of course, there is more yellow stitching all the way through in this 2-tier dash that you have here. Very sleek, skinny vents all the way there, and it sort of curves down, kind of like an opposite of a smiley face, like an unhappy face that smiles down. Kind of strange, but it's unique, and it's the first time I've seen it because I saw it in the back and I was like, oh, this is kind of cool vents, and I see in the front here, like, more noticeably, and bam, there is piano black underneath this driver's display all the way here, and I don't really like that. I can already see scratches here a little bit from people messing around with the lights, and it's kind of annoying for something so expensive. You'd expect that to not be piano black, especially where the hands are going to be, like the engine start and stop button. That's kind of a silly move if you ask me, from Mercedes-Benz. But let's talk about the screens. In front of me I have a very clear display. This is sort of the new Mercedes-Benz design. Very clear, very like diamondy when you look at the dials, like the AMG dials on this side and then the RPM dials on that side. And then you have this nice big screen over here. This thing is a 14.6 or so, but it's nice and big, very easy to read. The navigation is very quick. You do have other specific things, like of course you adjust your comfort. You can play some games on this thing. You can also charge it, of course, because this is a plug-in hybrid. And then you have a track pace, so you can actually see how you do on the track. And then you have a performance button that shows you your energy flow, your drive, all the data of the car in terms of like where the power is moving, what's the rebound rates of the suspension, you know, of course the angles you're driving at, that kind of stuff, how much battery power you have left. All that stuff is all in here. And then you have more stuff. So you have something called a Velocity browser, which is kind of like a Google browser that I'm popping up. And this is kind of unique to see. This is good to have, but this is the first time I've seen it. Usually you don't really have browsers for Mercedes-Benz. It's usually just like Tidal, which is like a sound thing, or Spotify. That's like the furthest they go in terms of, you know, giving the internet. But this one, they've got a browser. That's cool. And if you're wondering, can the passenger have their own screen? Of course they can. Boom, you have a screen right there. And you also have all the same stuff. You have a browser. You can see all the same data that's over here for everybody else. You see it as the passenger. So that's cool. Anyways, down from there, I have an AMG button here. Boom, I hit it, and I can see all my different drive modes. So let's start off at the top. You've got slippery, you've got individual, battery hold, which means you can actually use the engine to charge the battery. Remember those 49 miles you can do of range. Then you have all electric, which is what I used yesterday. I pretty much drove this thing for like 40 minutes on all electric. Then you have comfort, sport, and sport plus. Sport plus is of course beastly. It sounds amazing. This thing rips. It's just amazing in every single way. The steering is excellent, really tightens it up, especially when you have this body. They've straightened up the body, they've put strap bars, they've straightened up the rigidity of the frame to make it more nimble and agile. And then of course over here you have your cameras, your 360 cameras, then another charge button. I hit it there and it tells you how much I want to charge the vehicle until, your 4-ways, and of course your volume control. And then boom, center console. This is where it's at. This center console is super premium. It says E53 Edition 1 right here, embedded right on this carbon fiber, which is strange, guys. Come on. Why do you use piano black here and then carbon fiber here? Can you put some carbon fiber here and get rid of this piano black? Or at least sell in the parts department or something? Anyways, I slide this back, and this is very typical. This is unchanged. You have 2 cup holders, you have a wireless charger here, and then 2 USB-Cs, and then of course you close it, and boom, there you have it. And then I expect this to be a very small center console, and actually not too bad, not too bad. I have 2 more USB-Cs there, and boom, so I have 6 in total. 2 here, 2 here, and 2 in the back, and that's it for my interior. Now whipping around this corner. All right, oh, this feels stable, fun, agile, and on the ground. Oh, it just shifts so fast. This speed shift shifts like this. It's immediate. Oh, listen to that. The only thing that's lacking is more road. This just drives so well. Oh my thing, this thing is a weapon. So it does 0 to 60 in about 3.8 seconds or so, and it's just crispy clean. It doesn't feel overly aggressive. It doesn't snap your neck back when you're accelerating and you're shifting gears. It's just very smooth, very, very buttery, and that's in Sport Plus. Just so cool. I like how it has a shift before it actually shifts. So like when you listen to it, it's like listen. Okay, I'm gonna go to third now, third to fourth, or like a second to third actually. Okay, listen. Just sounds so clean, deep, and just like calm and confident. That's the best way to put this thing. Now I think the reason the 53 will do really well is the 53 is kind of tough, okay? So the 53 has always been one where it's like, do I buy the 63 or do I just buy the 43? Now, not specifically to an E, a C, or an S. It's just general consensus about the 43, 53, and then 63. So the deal is that the 43s are good. They're like, you're gonna buy a 300, so you're like, nah, I'm gonna buy step up and I'll buy something sporty. I'll buy the 43. And then they're like, well, what about the 53? Well, you buy 53 because you don't want a 63 because it's too aggressive. But then when you think about resale, 53s always get killed. Like 53s are like guaranteed killing. You walk into a dealership, they convince you to buy a 53, you buy 53, and then you drive out and you're like, wow, I just lost a ton of money. I should have just bought the 63 because it's gonna hold that money anyways. Because you take the average cost of a 53 and a 63 after 4 years, and the 53's lost way more money than the 63. So you should have bought a 60 in the first place. But I will say that this time is different because this has the drivability of the electric. So if you just go back and forth to work and you just want it as a daily commuter and then you want to have some fun on the weekend, well, guess what? You can actually drive this thing without even putting the engine on whatsoever and only put the engine on the weekends. I know it sounds crazy. The other thing is when I just picked this thing up, like just under a week ago, I was driving, got on the highway, and I was an electric, and I was like, oh, okay, cool, this goes pretty fast. I didn't really notice that it was an electric. I wasn't paying attention, I had music playing, whatever. And the crazy part is that it shows you what gear you're in electric. It's odd. It doesn't say electric and then like just one gear. It shows you actually goes through all the gears, which is interesting. But besides that, I was like, okay, I'll put it into Sport Plus. I put in Sport Plus, and I was driving, I was probably doing like 50 miles an hour, and I was accelerating to about 65, 70. And I was thinking to myself, I'm like, wow, this thing has not been moved or started, the engine, in like, I don't know, 3 days. And then I jump in and I just jam it, foot on the ground, engine has to wake up and then just be like full jam. Like, isn't that a bad thing? Like, don't you think like, wow, I feel like it should just warm up initially and then just stay kind of warm at a certain idle temperature? I don't know. There's got to be some way. Like, you could say, okay, well, you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't get an electric and then put it in gas and pin it. I get it. But if you're trying to pass somebody and you're electric and electric doesn't have enough power, it's decent, but it doesn't have enough power to actually pull past somebody, then what? Then what are you going to do? You're going to be like, hold on, let me warm up my motor and then I'm going to figure it out? No, obviously not. You're just going to get it from the ground and have a nice day. You're not going to care if the engine's cold, hot, whatever. I just think from a longevity standpoint, will the engine be good? Just being completely off and then like 600 RPM like immediately. Doesn't make any sense to me. But anyways, maybe there's a trick for that. Maybe it's running oil in the engine without me knowing, without being off. I have no idea. I just feel like that it's a little bit dangerous. Why are we doing this like 6 years after electrification is getting shoved down our throats? Why are we doing this now? This should be done a long time ago. To get 50 miles in terms of range, or like 75 kilometers, should be like off the bat. They should have given us that first and then giving us electric. But no, they're like, no, we'll give you electric, boring to drive. And we won't give you this option where you don't have any range anxiety. We'll just hold off for 5 years before we give you that. And now they're giving it to you. So I feel like, look, if you have an all-electric car, depreciation, boom, hits the ground. You talk about electric and gas, well, it depends. A lot of these electric cars are a small, tiny battery, like the 63. A small, tiny battery doesn't give you any driving range. It just gives you like the things to make the driving more exciting, more raspy, faster, more aggressive, more on. It gives you that kind of vibe. But it doesn't give you anything to do with range. But range is what you need to get from A to B. So here we are, trying to get from A to B. Now I've taken all my range away. I've been driving in Sport Plus and a little bit of battery to put the power back into the battery so I get some range and just drive an electric. So let me put an electric. Here we are, I'm an electric. So I want to show you guys what it's like to drive an electric and how fast I can get to 60 in electric. So now I'm in all electric mode. I'm going to show you guys how fast I accelerate to 60 miles an hour in all electric. Now I only have 1 mile of range, so hopefully the engine doesn't kick on, but I will pin it just before that little step down there and see how we get to 60. Here we go, all electric. Okay. And go. There we go. Maybe that was like 7 seconds. 6.5 to 7 seconds worth of performance to 60 miles an hour. I mean, that is not slow. That was like, I know it sounds crazy, but like 20 years ago, if you bought, say, a Mercedes-Benz 300 and you pinned it, you'd get to 60 in just about that same speed. Maybe a little bit quicker, which is crazy to think about, that this is all electric with just under a mile to go with a full range on this all electric battery. That's a almost 22 kilowatt hour battery. I mean, this is unreal that it pulls this 5,000 pound machine to that speed in that seconds. Anyways, fit and finish, guys. Excellent fit and finish, very typical Mercedes. Mercedes really stepped up their game when it comes to quality. About 10 years ago, Mercedes, not so much whatsoever. They really dropped the ball there. That's where Audi picked up a lot of steam. BMW was crushing it. Like, BMW was king 10 years ago. BMW, not king anymore. I would say Mercedes has basically picked up that title and have like reigned king. Now, of course, if you own Mercedes-Benz, you'd be like, Mercedes-Benz is the best. Mercedes-Benz is the king. It's always been the king. But no, it hasn't. 10 years ago, Mercedes-Benz was definitely not the king. 100% not the king. Audi was really catching heavy. They were catching heavy. 7 years ago, Audi was catching heavy. 5 years ago, catching heavy. 4 years ago, catching heavy. Last 2-3 years, I feel like Benz has really, whoever's in charge of like fit and finish, build quality, and overall, like, let's just make sure the product that goes out the door is good quality, they've really stepped that game up. And I feel like Mercedes-Benz right now is honestly at the top of their game in terms of putting cars out in the 2024 and 2025. Like, everything they've put out has been really good quality. I also feel when I'm driving this specific Mercedes, everybody wants to race. People tailgate me all the time. I'm like, stop tailgating me. And then I pull over and they're like, is everything okay? I'm like, yeah, you were tailgating me. That's what's okay. All right, come on, pass me, buddy. And I'm doing like, I'm faster than the speed limit. Anyways. Time to tailgate him. No, I'm kidding. Okay, so the other complaint I would make about this car is that these specific brakes are not the best. Like, they are big, they're heavy duty, they look good on the car. And maybe it's to be worked in because this car is still fairly new. I'm the second journalist to have it. Maybe they have to be worked in, but I feel like the brakes are good when you stomp on them, but when you initially just touch them, they don't really have that grab or that bite, like, you know, right off the bat. Now, in terms of the car and performance, how it handles is amazing. It turns very, very well. I only really drive this in either in electric, in Comfort, or Sport Plus. I feel like Sport is a complete waste of time. I feel like every brand should just get rid of Sport. Sport is dumb. Sport Plus, any performance-based drive mode should stay, like the most aggressive, and then the least aggressive, and then the one that like people buy for whatever reason, whether it's comfort or like or the like mud ruts or whatever if you're buying a truck. Like, that's what I think that the mode should be. There should be 3 modes. Like, nobody needs 17 modes. There's no reason. Like, the last performance sedan I had was the M5, which was 2 weeks ago, and man, this thing had a million adjustments on stuff. This one's also bad, I will say. I press the AMG button down here and it gives me some options, but it's still not as crazy as the BMW. This one does get a bit complicated because you got to press like this gear button, and then the gear button has the shifts to tranny and different modes and blah blah. So there is some stuff here, but it's generally speaking fairly organized. The BMW, whew, not at all. It was like way off the bat. It was like, to make no sense. Other than that, inside, I like the yellow seat belts. I dig it. I'm not really a big fan of the stitching. Stitching kind of looks like it's like done at like a mom and pop shop aftermarket. It doesn't look like factory, you know? Like, I feel like they're losing that factory feel. Needs to be a bit more quality in terms of the stitching. The screen, amazing. I love the passenger screen. I've always liked it about this specific dash, like this specific infotainment. I like that screen. This camera, kind of weird. I don't like that part. Other than that, yeah, good. Am I going to complain about blind spots? No, because I'm never going to be slow enough for anybody to pass me. But anyways, that's all fun and games. We're here to do one thing and one thing only, and that is to launch this bad boy. All right, foot on the ground. I'm in sport mode. Let me make sure I'm in all the right settings. Foot on the ground. Race start canceled. Okay, I don't want to cancel. I want to activate it. Okay, let me let's press all these buttons. There's a lot of buttons going on here. All right, foot on the ground. Okay, it's really interesting why it's canceling my race start. Okay, so I'm going to do this. I'm going to shut the car off and put it back on again, because I'm the type of person that I don't be playing with a million buttons to just launch the thing. I want to be able to get in, put in sport. Oh, Sport Plus. There we go. No, it's canceling. Weird. I just gotta shut it off. Let me shut it off. Okay, pretend I'm getting out. Hi, how are you?
Don't forget your phone.
Thank you. Press the start button again. welcome to Mercedes-Benz. All right, all these fancy graphics on the screen. Put this in Sport Plus, foot on the ground, race start, active, and go. Wow, that was park. That was cool. Put a drive. That was embarrassing. Try it again. Nope, she's not letting me do that. Come on, Mercedes-Benz. 3, 2, 1. There we go. Nope, it canceled. Still rips though. Still rips. I don't know why I was canceling, but at least it gave me that opportunity. It gave me like that tease, you know, like we're gonna let you race start, but then we're gonna cancel it. No idea why. I just put it in Sport Plus, and that was that. Maybe I gotta put stability program on. I don't know. We'll try it one more time for good luck. Come to a stop. All right, brakes. Okay. Okay. No, it's just not wanting. I gotta press it harder. No, race start canceled. Whatever. Foot on the ground. Just so smooth and buttery the way this shifts. Anyways, this is a 53, not a 63. Do I recommend buying the 53 over the 63 right now on planet Earth? Yes, 100%, because of the fact that you can drive without actually using the engine. And you don't need to have any other car. This is going to be a daily driver. It is all-wheel drive, fits enough people. It's not the biggest in the back, but fits enough people, looks cool. Like the graphics on the outside don't look like it's like aftermarket, like you did at your buddy's shop. It actually looks legit, besides the stitching. And it's sweet. Again, all-wheel drive, you got range, looks cool. Hopefully it won't depreciate like every other medium-sized sedan, because people don't, you know, brands don't even make them anymore because they're like, why even build them? Because they're going to depreciate like crazy, and then people are going to complain about it, and then it hurts our brand. Anyways, besides all that stuff, I think it's a good buy. That is what I think. Anyways, hope you guys like this review on this 2025 Mercedes-Benz E53 AMG 4MATIC Plus Edition 1 version. As always, thanks for the support, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.